Hello and welcome to the Philippines.
Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I've got my partner helping me today, Arlene, and she's the one that went to this location and did the video, so I'm going to have her kind of help describe what's going on. So where are you and what's going on here?
So this is called Bantayan Bay. Bantayan Bay in Cordova, Mactan Island. I'm going to hire a boatman to take me his bangka boat going or take me around.
There's really a lot of people out here. I'm just curious, why so many people today?
Yeah, it's Sunday. It's family day, a family gathering. So family going out.
Well, you're in a boat now, I see, and you're taking video, so I know you don't swim. But anyway, how much did it cost to get taken out and around?
They charge each head 10 pesos. But since I'm just alone to take a ride, so they charge me 20 pesos. So times 2, 40 pesos.
40 pesos for the ride,
Back and forth.
and you
Yes.
tipped him
20.
20.
Yeah.
All right. This is an interesting experience. This is the first time we've done this. I've been making videos for about 6 years, and because she took this video, and rather than me trying to explain it all, I want her to help there. So she's a little bit nervous talking into the microphone. So bear with us as we try to explain what's going on here, as I try to interview her. So I see a lot of boats and a lot of people. Where are the boats taking these people to? How many different places, different costs? Where are they going?
Yeah, if the passenger wants to go across, they call that Paradise, if I'm not mistaken.
Paradise Island?
I think so. I forgot something
Okay,
like that.
okay.
So they charge each for 50 pesos going there. Then if you want to going to that floating cottage, they charge 14 pesos each.
14?
10 pesos.
10 pesos?
Yeah.
Okay.
10 peso each.
And what's the cheapest cottage?
I heard from the boatman, he said there is 300 pesos for the, just like with umbrella, just to shade.
Just an umbrella in the sand
Yeah.
kind of thing? Okay. A lot of people swimming. Very shallow out here, huh?
Yeah.
Very shallow.
Right.
All the way out. So you can come and you can rent. You can get a boat to take you out. It's kind of like a big sandbar, it looks like.
Yeah.
On the map, I looked at like Google Maps, and it shows that as being a pier. It says Bantayan Pier, I think. And but from here it looks like a sandbar. Is that sand out there? Do you know?
Yeah.
That is. So it's like a beach almost, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then there's lots of different size cottages that you can rent.
Yes.
The most expensive being how much?
2,500.
For how many hours?
Unlimited. Just
Unlimited?
until 5 o'clock.
Okay, so 8 in the morning till 5
Yeah,
at night,
yeah,
something like that. Okay. Now, you hired the boat, he takes you out here someplace. I mean, most of these people, they rent the boat one way.
Yeah, and some can walk.
You could walk all the way
Yeah,
out here
you can
because
walk.
it's shallow.
Yeah.
But most people, they pay a boat, 10 pesos
10
each
pesos.
for
if
5,
they want to go,
if you're 5,
Yeah.
and to drop you off out here. And then if you want to come back, another 10 pesos each
yes.
to come back.
Right.
And you can you said you can rent the boat for how many hours, and he stays with you?
Yeah, I heard that from morning to afternoon.
Okay,
I'm
for
not
how
sure how many hours is that. It's
for how
like,
much?
500 pesos.
500 pesos.
Yeah.
And what did your boatman say about that?
It's not enough.
Not enough,
Yes.
because he should be able to make more
Yeah.
with his with more trips
Correct.
instead of just staying with one group for
Yeah,
500 pesos. All right. You know, I'm always amazed when I go over to Mactan and I get into an area that I haven't visited before, and it's like being in a completely different area. And I've never heard of this place. And you know, unless you start exploring around, you will never hear about these places. So how did you hear about this place, and how did you end up getting there?
I was at the Gaisano, Cordova, Gaisano Grand Mall. Then the tricycle driver asked me, "You want to go around, mom?" Since he saw my camera.
A tricycle driver is something that I thought would be called a pedicab. It's like a bicycle hooked on with a side cart. So that's what you see, the guy pedaling. That's what she used on this day, and she tells me he after he saw her vlogging camera, he said, "Well, I will take you around." And he took her around, stopped at 3 different places, and waited for her. And she ended up paying him 200 pesos for his time, several hours for waiting, like here, waiting until she came back. And anyway, that was the trip that she took. She went over there on a Sunday, which is a family day. Lots of Filipino families go out to enjoy whatever. Go to the lake, go to the mall, go to the beach. And anyway, this is kind of interesting place. People just go out here and their families, pretty much. Philippines have big families. So they're out there just enjoying the water, enjoying the sun. And you can see it is very, very shallow all the way out here. And you can see over there they're standing on the bottom there, or even crouched down. If they stand up, I see the little kids standing up there. But all those little, what they call cottages, you can rent those. And if you just want some place where there's an umbrella to give you some shade, 300 pesos on up to about 3,500 for a larger cottage for a larger group, I guess. Yeah, look at them walk. You could walk all the way out here if you wanted. Now, I may be wrong about the map showing that as a pier. There may be a pier a little further over there, I'm not sure. But I tried several different looks at it, and it looks like that is right where that area is on the map anyway. There is an activity called island hopping that is very popular in the Philippines, and it's pretty much you rent a boat, usually a bigger boat for a bigger group of people like this. But we actually, a couple of years ago when we were over on Bohol, we rented one for much of the day. I think we paid 1,000 for the day, but a lot of times for a larger group you pay. Depends on the area of the Philippines what the rates are, but some areas 3,000, 3,500 is a figure I hear a lot, and where they take you around to various islands, like off of Cebu, they take you over, maybe 30, 40-minute ride over to an island, stop there and swim a bit, maybe have some food. Some of those get-ups, I think you could pay somebody, the boatman, the crew, to bring the food along and cook it and serve it for you, or you bring your own food along. If you're going to contract with one of these guys, make sure you have all those kind of details agreed to in advance. You don't want to get out there and have no food. Everybody hungry, no food and water. So who's going to supply all that? In most cases, you're going to supply it. My partner has a channel also, and I will put a link to her channel in the description of this video. She does a really good job of interviewing people and going around showing different things. And anyway, it's interesting. She said she would never do something like that. But she watched me because I talk to a lot of people. I greet a lot of people. I stop and talk to a lot of people. And by watching me and how I do it, she just started doing it during our lockdowns when she was able to travel just a little bit. She took the camera and just went out and took a lot of video for me. Was when they first started enforcing the stricter over 65, stay locked in your house, don't get any fresh air, don't get any sun. But anyway, she puts out a number of pretty good videos, I think, in Bisaya language, Cebuano language. So if you understand that language, you might be interested. She will have her version of this up in the next day or so, and with the Visayan language, talking to the boatman, interacting with a few other people there. She's also very, very busy. She has a lot of other commitments as well, so I'm going to continue on with the narration at this point in time. I will touch on a little bit about the travel situation. Immigration, tourist visas still are not available at this time, so you cannot just get a plane ticket and fly here. There are certain groups of people, Balikbayans, Filipinos have been out of the country and their family, if they're traveling together, a couple other categories. I've done videos about that. There is some talk about opening up some traffic corridors with nearby nations, Singapore, probably Korea, Koreans are the top tourists here coming in. They rent out, they own a lot of property, rent out a lot of units, spend a lot of money at the various resorts, so they would be one of the key elements to allow in, I think, as well as other neighboring countries. Each day I read in the paper about lower cases, and the hospitals are in pretty good shape. From what I'm reading, one confusing thing is you get several different agencies putting out different information, and you don't know who is actually in charge sometimes, if anybody is. And so you get the IATF, the major group in charge of setting restrictions and requirements, saying one thing. You'll get the Department of Health saying something, some spokesperson, and you'll get, it's often in a combination. It's in what's called Taglish, combination of Tagalog, Filipino, and English. And when it's translated into English, that's the version I read, sometimes it loses something in the translation, obviously. So it seems like you get conflicting reports from various agencies about what's going to be required, restrictions that are going to be in place. But the signs are that we're going to continue to open up. A little more on the travel situation here, but first, this is heading back in, and the Filipinos, they see the camera, and they make it known here. So I'll let you listen in on this. But back to the travel situation, there are fewer restrictions in some areas. They have lowered the risk level in some areas. Cebu, I think, is now level. They come out with this risk level deal here, I think a month or two ago, and Manila was a real high risk, and they went from 4 to 3, and I think Cebu province is at 2, I believe. Some areas are at level 2 or 3 with added restrictions or fewer restrictions, so it just really depends upon the area. A little tricky keeping track of all that type of thing. We can travel Cebu province, Cebu Island, and the various islands relatively easy. If you're coming from outside of Cebu province, I believe that what I read this morning, if you're vaccinated with approved vaccines, then you don't have to quarantine or do any special testing, I believe. Like I said, every LGU, local government unit, can set its own rules. That's what gets even more confusing, is Cebu City might set one rule, and right next door, Mandawi City might set its own rules. Across the bridge of Mactan Island, Lapu-Lapu, they might set their own rules. Cordova could set their own rules. So every time you cross a boundary, you've got to be aware that something. In fact, early on, there was an issue with getting product. The trucking companies trying to, because so much comes on the trucks, get on ferries, get transported to different islands, and trucks were being held up at the borderlines of different provinces, LGUs, cities, towns. Anyway, the Philippines has a tremendous opportunity and potential. Thailand gets 40 million before this crisis, 40 million tourist visitors every year. Philippines, I think, was at 9 million. And the Philippines is rated with some of the best diving places, the best beaches in the world, and such great potential. They can use this time to latch onto that potential. To, there's competition among countries for that tourist dollar, and if they move forward aggressively, and I know some people still think everything should be locked down, but the damage that these lockdowns are doing economically, and discussion for another place. I think YouTube has certain restrictions on what you can say during these times, so I won't go into that. But anyway, there's a great opportunity. The people of the Philippines are very welcoming. Generally, the tourist visa here and other visas are relatively easy to get. And I know that Thailand right now they're seeking the more wealthy tourists and investors, and they're talking about changing their visa system, and so it could get more complicated, more paperwork to get a visa there. So the Philippines has a great opportunity. The people are great. There's so many options. Wherever you go, you got the sea and the beaches and the dives and snorkeling, and you've got the mountains and caves and waterfalls, and you've got the cities, and you've got the rural areas. You've got the eco sites and farms that you can visit. So much culture to see. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.